Okay, we're planning a new round of parody and humor segments for next year, and we want your input. And once again tonight, I'm ticking down some of our favorite segments of the year. But first, I want to send it over to Marissa to take us through the big news in tonight's Politicker.
All right, thanks, Craig. Well, let's begin with Russia and the possibility that it intervened in the U.S. election. In a recent Fox News poll, 59% of registered voters believe Russia's attempts to influence the presidential election had no effect on the outcome of it. Last week, the CIA concluded Russia did intervene in hopes of electing Donald Trump. So in response, the president-elect took to Twitter saying, quote, "If Russia or some other entity was hacking, why did the White House wait so long to act? Why did they only complain after Hillary lost?" End quote. Earlier this year, Mr. Trump suggested that Russia hack into Hillary Clinton's emails. Afterwards, he said he didn't mean it. He said he was just joking about it. Here's White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest talking about that today.
The defense from the Trump campaign is that he was joking. I don't think anybody at the White House thinks it's funny that an adversary of the United States engaged in malicious cyber activity to destabilize our democracy. That's not a joke. Nobody at the White House thought it was a joke. Nobody in the intelligence community thought it was a joke.
So how easy is it for one country to hack into another? Well, it doesn't even need to be the government or military of another country to do it. Private companies can be the ones doing all the hacking, and it can become an economy for some countries. Here's an IT expert who says there's evidence that hacking is already happening.
How likely is it? It happens right now. You look at Russia, you look at China, they have those groups that are doing those things. And there's evidence of it. They can see it because they can see and track the packets back and those attacks back to those countries specifically.
In other news, President-elect Trump was originally scheduled to hold a press conference today to discuss his businesses. Instead, he decided to postpone that event for a date to be determined. In another tweet earlier this week, Mr. Trump said he was leaving his business matters to his sons, Don Jr. and Eric. Meanwhile, Mr. Trump has just 2 cabinet positions left to fill after today. He picked Montana Congressman Ryan Zinke for Secretary of the Interior. This is the department that leads the way in protecting federal land along with national parks, wildlife, and natural resources. Zinke served as a Navy SEAL for 2+ decades before getting into politics. He sits on the House Natural Resources Committee and the Armed Services Committee. And now, like I said, there's just 2 cabinet positions that haven't been filled: Secretary of the Department of Veteran Affairs and Secretary of the Department of Agriculture. An update now from the story that we brought you last week. Pitbull released his contract with Visit Florida via Twitter. He said, quote, "It's been an honor to represent Miami and the Sunshine State. I've taken Miami and Florida worldwide way before any contract and will do so way after." He went on to say, #LoveFL since birth and until the day I die. He attached an 11-page document to that tweet in which he released the numbers of that contract with the tourism agency. In all, it paid Pitbull $1 million. That is $1 million taxpayer dollars to be an ambassador for his home state. The Florida House intends to end its lawsuit, but House Speaker Richard Corcoran says state lawmakers will still keep a watchful eye on how government agencies spend their money here in the state of Florida.
I think regardless of the number, my issue is this, is why in the world are we taking money out of hardworking taxpayers' pockets and using it to pay for the advertising of Fortune 500 companies? I don't think we should be in that business at all. Having said that, the fact that we did use $1 million for this contract with Pitbull, $2.3 million to decorate a race car, and $1.3 million to sponsor a B-League soccer team in London, all of that money could have gone to classrooms, could have gone to seniors, could have gone to giving that money back to taxpayers, could have gone to law enforcement. That's an issue, and that's something that we'll address in the coming session.
All right, well, it is a Throwback Thursday kind of night here on Money, Power, and Politics. Let's send it back to Craig for one of our favorite segments here on the show.
Well, thanks, Marissa. We're working on a new round of game show segments, so we want to take you back to the original political squares and get your feedback on who should be our next contestant.
One of these stars is sitting in the secret square, and the contestant who picks it could win a special prize. Which star is it? John Wilson, Matt Towery, Vanessa Rufus, Laura Moody, Russell Rhodes, Jeff Tewksbury, Linda Hurtado, Marissa Lynn, or Charlie Belcher? All in the Political Squares. And here is the master of the Political Squares, Craig Patrick.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Political Squares. Hello, stars. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic, Craig. Happy to be in the Paul Lind Center Square. Why, thank you.
Yeah, so many old friends back with us. We have some very special contestants. Let's begin with X. St. Pete, tell us about yourself.
Well, my name is Rick Kreisman, and I am the mayor of St. Petersburg.
Who's representing Tampa today?
I'm Bob Buckhorn, and I am the mayor of Tampa.
That's right. We've got the Battle of the Bay here. We've got the two mayors in a very special kickoff to Political Squares. We're going to kick it off with X in St. Pete. You see the squares. Who do you want to start with?
Let me start with Charlie.
Charlie, center square.
Exciting. Normally when a mayor says my name, I get nervous, but I'm ready for the fun this time.
Okay, who said the best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter?
Anyone on Facebook in the comments section, that's what they're there for. Lots of 5-minute conversations that go on forever and clutter up your page. No, I believe that was Winston Churchill. That's my cigar Winston Churchill impression.
Agree or disagree?
I'm going to disagree.
All right, you missed that one.
Oh, Mayor, no, trust me. I'm a reporter.
It's Winston Churchill. That's an obscure one right there. So I think we have the mayor of Tampa. Circle gets the square. Now, before we go any further, I was remiss in stating that we have a secret square on the board. For those of you at home, you're going to see who this is so that if one of our contestants picks that person, they will get a special prize. Let's take a look. Okay, home audience, you see who it is. Here, Buckhorn, you're up.
I will take Vanessa.
Vanessa, which presidential candidate won a Grammy Award?
That would be Rand Paul with his punk rock band and their 80s hit, Rock Me Amadeus.
Agree or disagree?
I will disagree.
Yeah, correct you are. Hillary Clinton it was. So she tried to bluff you there. That didn't work so well. So here we go. Mayor of Tampa off to a good start. Circle gets the square. And by the way, Vanessa, that was kind of funny. Do you have any other political jokes for us?
I don't approve of political jokes. I've seen too many of them get elected.
That's funny, Vanessa.
Oh.
Rufus, well done.
Be careful, Vanessa. I will turn your water off.
All right, Mayor Kreisman, you're up.
Well, I've got to go with Jeff for the block.
Jeff Tewksbury with the block. And here we go. Jeff Tewksbury is the secret square. You win a prize if you get this one right. Jeff, how about that?
That is just great, 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 great.
Whew, a lot of pressure.
Here's the question. Which candidate won a drinking contest with John McCain by downing 4 shots of vodka?
I'm going to say that was Democratic nominee Al Gore in 2000.
I would disagree.
Yeah, correct you are. He's wrong about that one. Jeff, you got that one wrong. But Mayor Kreisman gets it right. He gets the X for the block. The correct answer on that one, Hillary Rodham Clinton outdrank John McCain in a drinking contest.
On a trip to Russia.
There you go. You knew that one. All right.
Wow.
And lest we forget, that was the secret square. So with this, Mayor Kreisman wins a special prize. Let's take a look at what it is.
Play Trump, the game from Milton Bradley. I think you'll like it.
Jeff, you've seen this one before. What do you think of it?
That's a really good prize. I've played that myself.
Yeah, so you won Trump the board game. Do you want to keep it?
No, you can donate that.
Russell's laughing. We're going to throw in some curveballs here, mix it up, and show you something you may not expect when this wraps up right after this. So far, we've shot 10 rounds of political squares. Let us know who you'd like to see or what you'd like us to ask in the next few rounds. Chime in on Twitter. That's at Fox13 Politics, or comment on our YouTube channel. Search for Craig Patrick's Money, Power, and Politics and click subscribe at the top of the page. Okay, coming up, I have some more Money and Power and Politics classics, and Marissa has more news from our Politicker. So tonight, I'm dialing up some of our favorite segments, and I'm following your input as we plan for next year. We, by the way, have a political argument series that we shoot like it's a court TV show. So please let us know which arguments you'd like us to take to court next year. Here's a look now at how it works in the courtroom of Judge Marissa.
In America, you have a right to be stupid.
Is Secretary of State John Kerry serious? Do Americans have a right to be stupid? That's up for debate in our court. You are entering the courtroom of Judge Marissa Lynn. Real issues, real political arguments, settled here in our forum. This is Judge Marissa.
So, Mr. Patrick, the fact that you brought this case into my courtroom, is that not an act of stupidity in itself?
Well, Your Honor, I would argue that this is a good debate to have even if you render a stupid verdict.
I don't render stupid verdicts. Say that again and I'll find you in contempt.
No, I meant to say that if you render an intelligent verdict affirming the right of all Americans to be stupid.
That's more like it. Okay, Mr. Belcher, what is this all about?
I'd like to play Exhibit A.
In America, you have a right to be stupid.
Secretary of State Kerry says that stupidity is a basic American right, and we disagree.
Yeah, and he's on the side of stupid?
Yes.
Objection, speculation. The Secretary was making a broader point that does apply to our core rights as Americans.
Sustained, what is the point?
Well, he was saying that as Americans that we live and breathe the idea of political freedom. Whatever the point of view may be, even if the point of view is overwhelmingly stupid to most Americans.
Mr. Belcher, is that what he said?
The Founding Fathers recognized 3 key rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Did I ask you about the Founding Fathers?
No, Your Honor.
Stay on point.
The point is, the Founding Fathers omitted stupidity for a reason.
Objection, lack of foundation. In the preamble to the U.S. Constitution, our Founding Fathers called for a more perfect union.
Your point?
You can't make something more perfect. That's stupid in itself.
Objection, he's making sense.
Sustained.
I'd like to play Exhibit B. This, Your Honor, will show you how our right to be stupid also ignites us as a people. It expands our reach and drives our thirst for change. It inspires invention and ingenuity and leads to new and creative ways of doing things.
Okay. We will concede that a certain degree of stupidity may be wired into our government. I think we can all agree with that. It appears to have driven our energy policy for the past 100 years. Play Exhibit C.
We need an energy bill that encourages consumption.
Yeah, but play Exhibit D. It's also why our definition of an exit strategy can involve misspelling every word on an exit sign but exit. It's also why Americans can also say no to the pubic option.
What?
Show Exhibit E. Yeah, pubic option, and it's why we can reject sockalism and acknowledge our hotness without the use of apostrophes. And in state government, it's also why lawmakers say and do silly things in troubled times, like focusing extensive debate on truck nuts.
Objection, offensive, Your Honor.
What are truck nuts?
Objection, don't ask, Your Honor.
Play Exhibit F. It's the big debate that played out in the Florida legislature a while back.
I mean, nuts like washers and screws, or?
No, more nuts like, nuts.
I warned you not to ask, Your Honor. Stupidity is not something to celebrate. Believe me, I know. People in Europe are already saying that stupid defines us as Americans. Play Exhibit G.
We go over to Europe, and all we can say is de cinco de cuatro.
People in Europe don't even know what it means to be the fifth of 4.
But Kerry was not talking about stupidity in government.
No, but he certainly could have. Play Exhibit H.
I actually did vote for the $87 billion before I voted against it.
But in this case, he was referring to the stupid things that regular people say and do because they're free to do it. He says that's a virtue worth fighting for.
Mr. Belcher, what say you?
I concede stupidity is occasionally even fun. So, rule, Your Honor.
Mr. Patrick, you take this one as well.
Okay, so that's Judge Marissa, and would like to know which topics again and issues and arguments you'd like to see in the next round. Send us an email, and Charlie will get to it in our mailroom and pass it along to us. The email address is mppmailbag@yahoo.com. More news and politics. All right, Marissa, what's coming up?
All right, thanks, Craig. Well, coming up, another last for President Obama and the first family in the White House. Plus, the latest from the civil war in Syria as evacuations are underway in Aleppo. That story after the break. Well, the fight is over in eastern Aleppo, but it's also just beginning. Thousands of people caught in the crossfire, trapped without food, water, and medical care. They are finally being evacuated from the Syrian city. Fox's Connor Powell has more.
The buses are rolling in Aleppo. Thousands of civilians, along with a handful of rebels, being evacuated from the last sliver of land they still hold in the city. Once a rebel stronghold, now a scorched landscape of rubble and ruins.
This is a swift, unbureaucratic, non-intrusive evacuation.
The ceasefire, brokered by Turkey and Russia, also includes the evacuation of towns under siege by the rebels. It comes after days of intense bombardment from Assad forces. The international community accusing the government of torture, mass executions, and killing of civilians. Aleppo's mayor attending an EU summit in Brussels, urging the West to step up its involvement on the diplomatic and military front.
Over 500,000 casualties, over 12 million people displaced. These are terrible crimes, and unfortunately the international community is still silent.
Most European leaders agree on the need for more aid, but there's disagreement about how to get it to those in need. Also in dispute, how to punish Russia and Iran, largely seen as responsible for helping the Assad regime retake Aleppo.
President Assad and his backers in Russia and Iran bear responsibility for the tragedy in Aleppo. What we must be doing is ensuring that those who are responsible for these atrocities are held to account.
And that was Fox's Connor Powell reporting. The International Committee for the Red Cross says the evacuation of rebels and civilians from Aleppo is likely to take several days. Coming up, we'll wrap things up with a visit to our nation's capital after the break. All right, another last for the first family with just over a month left in the White House. Mr. and Mrs. Obama held their final Hanukkah reception yesterday with Jewish leaders and rabbis. The family of the late Shimon Peres was in attendance as well. Obama flew to Jerusalem in September to attend the funeral for the former Israeli president. This year, Hanukkah begins on December 24th. And don't forget, for more from our previous episodes, head to our YouTube channel, search for Craig Patrick's Money, Power, and Politics, and then make sure to click on the red subscribe button at the top of the page. There you're going to find full episodes from all of our previous shows. We have investigations there, extended interviews, and humor segments like the ones we brought you over the past couple of nights. Tomorrow we will bring you The Forgotten Heroes, a special investigation into the continuing problems at the Department of Veteran Affairs. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you right back here tomorrow night.